We call ourselves Oh Boy. We sat in that meeting and it was time for introduction. And somebody would say, I come from Dortmund. Give their name, I'm from Berlin. The other one said his name, he said, I come from Frankfurt. When it came to Gaston, I was baffled. He said he comes from Arab. Everybody was like, they've never heard. He said he's from Arab. The Germans were confused. Where is Arab? I was so proud. In less than 1 second, he took Arab from a local space in Ambazonia and internationalized it through a speech act. In 1 second, it became tattooed in the brains of everyone that was sitting in that space. And it changed me. The white people take pride of theirs. If you tell somebody in the United States that you have never known Tupac, you'll be shocked. But turn and ask that person if he knows Amumba. And try to be shocked why they don't know Amumba. And listen to the defense. We have been taught to learn about others and not ourselves. Because the story of our being and our existence has always been written by our enemies. From these outings, we are rewriting our own story. In this struggle, we are telling our own side of the story. Through our resistance, we are building a history which is based on our own realities. And we are liberating ourselves block by block, state by state, first mentally, then physically. My fellow Ambalanders, I'm grateful to have been born in Amba. Yes. And I think we should take pride in our land. And wherever you are, in which office you sit, wear your Amba pin as a badge of honor. And if there is only one thing you will do on earth before your last day, let it be to deliver Amba from the hands of La Republique. For that to happen, I ask of you, each and every one of you, to pay your liberation tax. I promise you, you will see a physical change in broad daylight. In broad daylight. La République knows I'm not joking. They know me for the past 33 years, 35 years. They know. My words, my thoughts, my actions I don't study war acts. I study my opponent. Based on their action, I build a counteraction. All what we have produced and prescribed from the Ambazonian Governing Council is based on a deep understanding the flaws and the strength of our enemy. You empower our people mentally. You make our people to accept their identity. You make our people to believe in their own land. You are 80% free. Once the thief knows that their location is identified, it's just a matter of time. They can use Diongute. The other day I was listening to him. Oh, what a disgrace. What a disgrace. A whole man who calls himself Prime Minister is on video begging the slave to remain a slave in the hands of their abductors and kidnappers. Confused what to say. Whether he should beg by the mama, we should pray to God, pray to Allah, or we should do what? Just for him to be in the good books of a man whom I'm sure is senile enough not to even know who Diongute is. I thought they had won the war. Now we still control the suburbs. Well, thank you all for being part of this interactive conversation. Tomorrow, I would want you to choose the state I address tomorrow. So just write on the comment section which state you want me to address. The PR, the PS, and all those chief of staff, OGC, all those who are following will tally the votes, and we will do preparation against tomorrow. You know, I said I was going to address 13 states. I am also going to address our people in the diaspora, and I'm also going to address our people in jail. But by the beginning of next month, I will find a special day to address the issue of the lockdown, which I have asked the Ambazonian Defense Forces to reinforce. I rarely make those kinds of tough decisions. You should know that the enemy is engaged in a psychological warfare at this stage. It's no longer, you know, you shoot me, I shoot you. No, that is standard practice. They are now engaged in a psychological warfare. And that psychological warfare is a notion of normalcy. They have been able to convince many people to believe that in times of war, there is no normalcy. There's war in Syria, there's war in Iraq, there's war in Afghanistan, there is still normalcy. But they have been able to make everyone to believe that a state of normalcy means that you are losing the war. And so you are jittery all the time. Sometimes when you see some of their PR activities and there is no lockdown, there's no ban, there's no disruption, you have the feeling like we are losing. Yes, we've lost grounds in some areas. But the key strategic components of the resistance are intact. So to undermine their ability to continue to market this illusion of normalcy, I support and approve this lockdown. We want to re-engineer Ambazonians to understand that there is a state of war in Ambazonia, during which time people die, soldiers die, places are being burnt, there is rape, there is destruction going on by the enemy. It is also meant to send a message to all those enabling the activities of the enemy, gradually accepting the enemy, selling them food, playing with them, doing all nonsense with them, to time and again remind them that no, this normalization of relationship with the butchers and rapists of our people is an anomaly to the Ambazonian people. And to really protect one of the pillars of our resistance, an indigenous Ambazonian educational system with a curriculum designed to reflect the standard, the opportunities, the weaknesses of our socioeconomic and political landscape. And that any school that continues to enable, to give comfort, to perpetuate an illegal education system, we will dig it from the foundation, right from the foundation, upside down. Don't send your children to any school associated to La Republique. When we say community school, it means it's community based, it's community owned. The shareholders are people from the community. That's what we mean. And that's the system we will design. A shareholder approach to ownership of industries, big, medium, or small. We know we have limitations, but we are creating institutions for learning and to acquire knowledge, not just schools. We are being innovative. We are creating multiple layer opportunities that if you miss a couple of days sitting in a classroom because there was fighting in that neighborhood, you go online, you are going to catch up. We are transforming, we are disrupting what has existed. We are creating a revolutionary system that totally dismantles what was put in place to turn us from being citizens of a country to becoming slaves to another country. This is going to be a meticulous and tedious job. And I appeal to each and every one of you to bear the burden each time it comes to your door. It will be for you, your family, and to the next generation. Don't forget to pay your liberation tax. I send greetings to all the denizens of Le BRM, including my vice president, the chief of staff, and all of our people. Hey, I forgot Iron Lady in them and your husband, and all of you from Le BRM. God bless you all, and good night.
I come today to make two things clear. The first thing is, there is no one in the diaspora sending children in Cameroon to go and die on the streets. Nobody's sending children out to the streets to go and die. Those children are fighting for their own freedom. They are the ones who are unemployed. They are the ones who do not have food to eat. They are the ones who are driving on bad roads. They are the ones who are suffering the most from Paul Biya's regime. They are the ones who do not have schools. They are the ones who do not have clean water to drink. They are the ones who do not have electricity. They are the ones who do not have internet. It's not the people in the diaspora. So they feel the pinch, and that is what is driving them to go out and fight. It's not anybody in the diaspora pushing them. What they are going through under Biya's regime is what is pushing them to the streets. So I want anybody who is thinking that it's people in the diaspora pushing people out there to go and fight should think twice. Should think twice. Why are people in the diaspora? Why are we here in the first place? So how do we think, or how can we sit and accuse or point fingers at other people that they're pushing children to go and die in the streets, when we know exactly why those children are fighting? We know why they are out in the streets. They are tired. They are hungry. They are sick. They are unemployed. They don't have schools. They're driving on very bad roads. That's why they are on the streets. If anybody does not understand that, then you need to see a doctor. The second thing I want to make clear is the hypocrisy in all of this. We cannot pretend that we feel for those children, or that we feel for the families who lost loved ones in the Anglophone fight, and yet we sit with the same people who go out campaigning for Paul Biya. We sit on the same table with them and dine with them in the name of schoolmates, classmates. We cannot be dining with those people. We cannot even be having a conversation with them, knowing that they are the ones enabling Paul Biya to do what he's doing. That is hypocrisy. That is hypocrisy. We have seen all the Anglophones in high-profile offices who went out there to campaign for Paul Biya, who said Paul Biya has built schools when Paul Biya has not built any school. Those who went right to Bamenda and said Paul Biya has built roads when he has not built any roads in Bamenda. If anything, they have killed our children. And all these people are responsible for the death of all the Anglophones who died. All of them. Every Anglophone serving in this regime is a traitor. Every single one. And for us to sit with those same people, look at them in their faces, have a cordial conversation with them, to the point of dining with them, then we are not different from them. Then we can consider ourselves enablers as well. I'm saying this because I talked about it on a forum and I got some calls and some messages from members of those forums asking me why I should say that people should be excommunicated from groups. Really? Really? Why this hypocrisy? Why? And we are saying we want a better Cameroon. Why are we pretending? Why are we pretending? If you can stand and talk against Paul Biya, and you cannot talk against those who are supporting and campaigning for him, knowing exactly what he has done, then even you who called me, or you who sent me that message, just don't want to call names. You are not different from them. You're not different from them. Some told me that we should respect their beliefs. You should respect the belief of someone who believes that other people's children should be killed, that people should be kidnapping people, that those are the beliefs you want us to support. It is not as if there are two parties or people are disagreeing on policies. That is not the case here. It's not as if we are disagreeing on policies. If that was the case, that would even be better. Because when you have two parties like they have in the United States, the two sides don't agree on certain policies. And it's because one think they can do better for the country. Their competition is to do better for the country. It's not a case where people are killing children. The country has gone 50 years behind. We are living here today because we cannot live there. And somebody says, I should respect their beliefs. Come on, people. Come on. This is why I keep saying we do not love that country enough. We do not love ourselves enough to really want to see change. Because if we did, we will do things differently. We cannot pretend. We cannot pretend that we want to see change and we dine with those people. That is pretense. That is hypocrisy. I don't talk my own.
Ambazonia, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought along the gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meet in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Okay. My fellow Ambalanders, my great people of Ambazonia, I salute each and every one of you. And I salute especially our people of the great state of Mezam. Today I am going to be speaking to the people of Mezam, the great warriors of Mezam. I said a few days ago that I will be speaking to citizens of all the states, the 13 states of Ambazonia, about the importance of the liberation tax. This is one of the first projects that I have launched on the ground in terms of resource mobilization. And in the past few weeks, we have taken the pains to explain the benefits of this new policy. Before I get into it, I also want to send special greetings to our forces in Mundemba for the great action that they carried against the brutal occupiers of our country. The Ambazonian people are grateful for the sacrifices that all of our forces are making. I send my greetings to our prisoners of war, all the brave men and women who have been taken into captivity by Cameroon and whose conditions of detention are alarming, inhumane, degrading, psychological torture, and even murder in jail. We remember your sacrifices, and we will do so forever. Ambazonians in the next 100 years will read about the sacrifices you have made and continue to make. My fellow Ambazonians, we are at war. We are at war. War is not explained. It is felt in terms of the pain it brings to a people. It is also felt in terms of the opportunity it creates to the future generation. We have been at war for 62 years with Cameroon, backed by an international conspiracy to rewrite our history and to eliminate us as a people. So today, I want to speak to the people of Mezam why it is important that each and every one of them, whether you are at home or in the diaspora, to pay the liberation tax. This war is not going to be wished away. Propaganda will not end it. Denying it will not stop it either. Praying that it ends will not bring it to an end. The only way this war is going to come to an end is when Cameroon decides that its illegal presence in Ambazonia has come to an end, and like the Americans decided in Vietnam, they decided in Iraq, they decided in Afghanistan, withdraw their forces from Ambazonia, allow the Ambazonian people to take ownership of their country, establish a government for the Ambazonian people, by the Ambazonian people, a government that will serve the interests of our people and everyone else that lives within our territory and any other area subject to the jurisdiction of Ambazonia. The second way this war is going to come to an end is that our forces exact defeat on Cameroon in the battlefield and expel it from our land and establish a system that serves our people. We have been at war for 62 years, a war for our very own survival. And the people of Meza have paid a very heavy price. At each phase of this war, whether it is the battle for democracy, the battle for the freedom of press, the battle for education, or is the battle for territorial control, the battle for free and fair elections, ghost towns, civil disobedience, lockdowns, boycotts, defense of leadership, hoisting the flags, drumming, whatever action that has been necessitated during each battle, the people of Mezam have paid a very heavy price because of their warrior status and because they have decided that resistance is the only way that any people can gain something. In the past 30 years, the people of Mezam have always answered present when they are called to action. Whether it was under John Frundi, we were there. We mounted barricades, we dug trenches, we poured engine oil on highways. We did everything to protect Mr. John Frundi from being kidnapped and shipped to Yaoundé. When it came the turn of the SCNC, the great state of Mezam after Fako hosted AAC2. During that period, we experienced all forms of battery from water cannons, assault, killings, torture, kidnapping, harassment. We stood our grounds and established for ourselves then and for posterity the Bamenda Proclamation that laid the political pathway for the freedom of Ambazonia. The people of Mezam have answered present when it has mattered. In the past 70 years, most of the toughest battles have been fought in the great state of Mezam. Some of the strongest defense groups, the EDF, the Boys of Nchomba, the Buffaloes of Bali, the Seven Katas, the Tabukwi Funds. These are the men and women that have taught La République du Cameroon in the most populated city of the state of Mezam, that Ambazonia belongs to us. These are the men who have also sacrificed a lot. Some of our great fighters, General Bobe, Anaga, Gires, all of them, Iswil, they lost their lives on the streets of Bamenda in the defense of an ideal whose time has come, that of freedom for the Ambazonian people. I come to Mezam today not only as a son of Mezam, but also as someone who has fought on most of the streets in the state of Mezam. I come to Mezam today because I believe very strongly that our freedom will come from Mezam. In Bamenda alone, there are almost 580,000 people. And if half of this population commit to the liberation tax, it is going to solve a lot of things. I know you're listening to me and wondering what it is going to solve. I know you are concerned about extortions, kidnapping for ransom, roadblocks, burning of homes by the enemy forces, Calais, rape by Cameroon's thugs, general insecurity, uncertainty in terms of the future of your children and their education. You are also concerned about the state of the general infrastructure of Mezam, the roads, pollution, in terms of the trash. Hospitals have become places where people go to die. And you're wondering how Ambazonia will make a difference. We have stated severally that we are not only fighting to secure our homeland. The real reason why our people are fighting is to make sure we can establish conditions of life that bestows dignity to our people, that gives them hope, that rewards hard work, that ensures that any government established over the state of Mezam is going to care about the general state of the roads, ensure that hospitals are clean, that people have access to doctors, midwives, nurses, and are empowered through their own means or through the support of the state to acquire medications when they are sick. This is the future we are trying to secure. We also want to transform Ambazonia and every state. Make it modern. Make it likable. Make you to be proud to say, I come from Alatini. I come from Alabukam. I come from Tuobo. I come from Chomba. Your culture is not only wearing the traditional regalia, eating achu, dancing bagalum, or boto dance. To secure your culture, you need to secure the land. If you do not have a land, it's just a matter of time before your culture is wasted. The enemy who takes over the land will impose new values, will change your language, will change the food you eat, will change the events you celebrate, will alter your way of thinking, will change your personality. Land is important for the survival of any culture and any people. If you look inside Mezam, take Bamenda for example, Cameroon, empowered by the DUs and the SDUs, is altering the demography of Bamenda. There are parts where Cameroonians have taken over. Whenever you will organize an election, they will vote for people that will represent their interests and their culture in your own land. They will pass laws that will determine whether you can own a land or you cannot own a land. They would secure business opportunities that favors them. Those who will make investment will make investment simply to secure profit. If we do not speed up our effort to secure our land, our own very survival, the survival of our different cultures, our fandoms will become history. It's a matter of time. You have seen, in the shortest time possible, funds have become politicians. Funds who are supposed to be the custodians of our tradition, our way of life, non-partisan, and protect every citizen, irrespective of your political persuasion. They have become supporters of political parties. They represent the interests of a foreign government in exchange for the security of their position, for money. We have seen the great traditions of certain fandoms desecrated, with funds extending their hands to strangers. Our way of life, our culture is not only under attack, it is on the verge of collapse. A people without a culture are a people without a soul, and a people without a soul are living carcasses. My fellow people of Mezam, you may be living in the moment. You may get up in the morning, you go to the fields, you plow the fields, you plant your maize, you harvest your vegetable, you go to the market, you exchange it, you buy other issues like rice, gari, plantains, and you think that's your existence, that's simply your life. To secure the lives and the existence of your children, you must be concerned about the security of the culture that is a reflection of our own way of life. And for us to secure that culture, we must protect the land. We have seen the enemy, when attacked, they take revenge in burning homes. There is a reason. They want to deprive you of shelter. We have seen the enemy kidnap our men and women, transfer them into jails in its own country. You think it's only a security matter. No. It's re-education. The jails in La République are populated by citizens of Cameroon. 90% or 95% of the inmates are from Cameroon. The language of expression in those jails is French. The way of life in those jails is Cameroon. The patterns in those jails is developed according to the way Cameroonians live their lives. And I can assure you 100%, for the prisoners that survive Cameroon's jails, when they ever return into Ambazonia, they think and act almost like Cameroonians. La République has a strategic plan, and that plan has been put in place since 1962. La République understands to secure our way of life, you need to have an economic system that is built depending on our local realities, our way of farming, our way of trading, our monetary system, to ensure that we do not have access to credit, our citizens are not empowered to pay value-added tax that can be used to develop our communities. La République dismantled our economic systems and caused a human population movement into their own territory. You walk there, you pay taxes there, you buy food there, you buy beer there, you buy everything there. You increase the capital opportunities. You bank there. You create access to credit for future entrepreneurs who are mostly Cameroonians. Access to credit, access to opportunities for Ambazonians dismantled. La République also understood from the beginning, a healthy population is a productive population. It dismantled our health infrastructure. Those that existed or survived were abandoned. They became dilapidated structures where diseases thrive. Women giving birth die every day because of infections. Those who are wounded, bitten by snakes, insects, have no opportunities. La République also knew the people who are not empowered, the people who don't have access to opportunities, cannot fight back. The next thing he did was to dismantle the political institutions. Political institutions are the institutions that make the laws in terms of the parliament, executive structures that enforces the laws, a judicial system that interprets the laws. Laws within the land are built through customary practices. The practices we have in the Mankonfondom, in the Nkwen, the Chomba, all of these places, they form the basis of the kinds of laws that are then created to regulate society. Some are unwritten. They are just customary practices that live through time and space. La République dismantled those political institutions. It took away the cover that we needed to hope, to dream. The political visionaries that can emanate from those institutions to develop policies and practices that will help our people. The greatest tools of development in every society are the ideas of the visionaries, the entrepreneurs, those who dare to invent, to think, to create, with no economic infrastructures, no access to credit, no good laws, no good health system. We were left to think our educational system will produce assets, people who can become the future engineers, people who can become the future thinkers of our society, the philosophers. No, they dismantle our institutions of education. Those which were not dismantled were corrupted. They built 4 walls called classrooms and forced our parents to take ownership through PTAs. That is how Cameroon brought us on our knees. And because we could still stumble and move forward, we thought we were walking. They corrupted all those who could stand for us. They bribed all those who could resist for us. They murdered all those who refused to yield or bend. They kidnapped and rendition those who fought back. They dropped grenades on those who threw stones. They raped all those with dignity, infected those with HIV, and made sure that the demographic shift, if not completed through massive movement of population, is completed through deliberate acts of killing. And we thought we were living. Those who had the means, they shipped their kids abroad, who never returned. Their only happiness was that they had lost their children to foreign flights, kids they will never see. They never hug. The interaction between parents, siblings, and others far away abroad was money, regulated by the same enemy. Those in the diaspora flew in time and again for a few months. They spent lavishly. They had a few months of fun and returned back to their den, where the suffering and toiling continue. That is how they brought us on our knees. And for those who stood up to fight back, our own population even sometimes complain that you're doing it too much. Just make some compromises. Just keep begging. The enemy has taken our entreaties for a weakness. When we begged, they returned fire. When we appealed, they sent helicopter gunships. When we marched with olive branches, AK-47 bullets were flying over our heads like njam. They knew we didn't have guts. They knew we did not have patience. They knew we lived for nothing because our own value system had been dismantled. They knew we were only surviving. They knew they had taken away our nationalism. They've made you to think being from Alabukam was a disgrace. Coming from Chomba was a disgrace. Having your name as Che was an abuse. To be called Lumobi was an attack. You denied your own self so you could look like the enemy. You integrated even without being invited. That's how shallow we went down. We lived for nothing. We had no conviction, no determination. We could not stand even for our friends. Ambazonians are the people who can die for their friends. They can't stand for their neighbors. An Ambazonian will give away his friends for little opportunities, will give away his name for anything, will give away his origin for anything. That's how cheap we became, just because we wanted to integrate and survive. That's how they turned warriors into beggars, Olympians into crawlers. People of Meza, you have shown the world what it means to resist. From Toronto to London, to Washington, to Paris, to Enugu, Soweto, an unknown 8 million strong army has made its presence known. We insisted to be called Ambazonians. We insisted to sing an anthem. We insisted to fly a flag. In Oslo, they know where Labukam is. People are proud now to say they come from Kwakwa. People are proud to say they come from Kogwe. Those traitors whose existence depends on your suffering are the sole enemies now we face. Cameroon is vanquished. Cameroon is defeated. I can attest to this as a matter of fact. Any country that claims to have ownership or control over the territory of other people should have the powers to organize elections, should have the powers to determine how things work, should not deploy the army in the middle of the city, should deploy the police, should have DOs, SDOs, mayors living in their homes, should have funds and chiefs it has bribed to stay in and show us that they are in charge. You know a country has lost control when it thinks it can use propaganda, when it thinks it can rally a few people to clear the bushes around schools it claimed it had control over. When it plows our street with armor cars, helicopter gunships, you know you are in charge when the enemy lives in fear, in armor cars. We have setbacks all the time. It's the nature of life. Even in your own family, your salary is never the same. Prices of fuel go up. Your income doesn't go up. You have setbacks. You lose the loved ones. You lose a child. You fail on exams. You get sacked from your job. These are the normal things that happen to every people in life. For us Ambazonians, we have our setbacks. We gain territory, we lose territory. We lose fighters, we lose commanders. That's how wars are fought and won. And victory belongs to those who never give up. And I am proud to come from Mezam. And you can be sure that the spirit of the warriors of Mezam flows in my blood. My people, I know things are hard. I know sometimes you have questions and you want answers. I cannot promise you that heaven is next door. I cannot promise you that salvation is next door. But what I can tell you with certainty is that salvation is coming. Independence, within which you will have free medical care. It means if you are sick, you walk into a clean hospital, you are checked, prescribed medication, you walk into a pharmacy, pick the medication free of charge. It means you take your child to school. The classroom is small, has seats. All the books that the child needs is in the classroom, offered by the school, free of charge. And as if that was not enough, there is a well-equipped library for the child to acquire knowledge. And the next door to the library is a computer center where they can study online in what the Ambazonian Education Board has put in place as the e-learning. That child can finish education, living in Tarinkon, finds a job in London, sits at home and work and earn a salary, hug you in the morning, say thank you mom, Thank you, Dad. Visits the friends in the next street. Goes to the club. Visits the market. Live a life where they were born. And if they want to move, they move by choice. That's what we will offer. For us to get there, I need 100,000 people in Mezam to pay their liberation tax on the ground. It will secure us 1 billion if 100,000 men pay their liberation tax. 70% of this money will go to equip our forces, increase their numbers, so they can play both defense and policing duties to ensure there is no kidnapping for ransom, there are no illegal checkpoints for extortion, there is no harassment, pickpocketing, there is no torture of our people. A well-oiled army that can defend the territory, protect the people. 30% in this period of war will be invested in education and public health. We will deploy public health practitioners in all villages to make sure they can take blood samples to check if you have malaria, if you have typhoid. They do prescription where you can buy your medication. At Independence, we will supply the medication. They will check your blood pressure to make sure you have a health certificate so you know how sick or well you are. That is what we can offer now. You can be rest assured of my every word. For you in the diaspora, we have put a tax of $100 every year for all Ambazonians in the Western Hemisphere, and $50 for all Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonians in the continent of Africa. We expect to mobilize resources to add to what we will mobilize on Ground Zero, to invest in the same triad issues which I have listed. Your tax from the diaspora is also your visa fee. Some of you have left out here and you've gone down. Surely you've landed in the airport of the enemy. You've driven on their dilapidated roads. You've paid ransom at airports every 5 kilometers. You've paid ransom to gun-wielding thugs. You've been harassed. You enter your own land. You walk on the same soil where Ebobe was buried. Somewhere in the neighborhoods, at the Ambazonian Defense Forces, at the Tabokwifons, at the Buffaloes of Bali, risking their lives on a daily basis to make sure that land looks like the land you've left from. That you don't need to land in an enemy airport. That you can leave an airport and drive as quickly as possible to your home without any kale, without any extortion. If you ever doubted why they fight so you can go home before you die in exile. They fight so you can feel free to hop in and hop out. That's why they fight and die. That's their story. Should be told by them, not the propaganda of the enemy. You can't consume the propaganda of the enemy. In the great countries in which we live, daredevils rose up, bled, went to jail, were killed, fought until they had freedom. The Norwegians didn't stop there. They could speak Danish. They worked very hard to establish the Norwegian language. They preserved their culture. It is now, with 4.5 million people, one of the richest countries in the world. We will make sure Norwegians feel ashamed to be Norwegians because of the beauty we will bring to our country, the security in terms of health, infrastructure, education, hope, and happiness. If you ever doubted why we fight, this is our own story. and for the people of Mezam who have sacrificed a lot. I want you to know the Ambazonian history will be written with you occupying the first chapter. The children who will be born 100 years from today will know the sacrifices you made, will know the price you paid, will know how you suffered, will read the names of all the warriors who have fallen and who have been scarred. We aren't stopping until that dream becomes a reality. And I know if you step up, if you commit, if you sacrifice, that dream is already here. God bless Ambazonia. God bless all of you in Mezam.